Okay, so what are you saying, people, and welcome back to your favorite YouTube channel. So today, guys, like always, another weekly analysis for you. On the screen are the pairs we'll be analyzing today, but make sure you do stay to the end of the video, so I do have a bonus pair in store. But yeah, guys, I'll go from a trade for the week first. If there is a specific pair you guys are after, feel free to skip ahead on the timestamps. But we'll go through my trade for the week first, which was a short loss on the NZD CAD. I was looking for a simple break and retest of this level. We'll push back down into these lows here, had all these lower highs. I'll show you my entry. I entered on a nice bearish engulfing candle for shorts on this candle here. Stop loss a few pips above the high, and of course looking to target the lows down here. Unfortunately, the market kind of just consolidated. It was rejecting the level quite well, but momentum kicked back in for the bulls and price broke to the upside. And then we had interest rates for NZD, and we had a big push to the upside there, which looks like to be just a fake out. It looks like the market's faked out, taking some stop losses above these highs here, including mine. Now it looks like the market's ready to roll back over, back down into these lows here. So I'm still after some shorts on NZD CAD, so I'll explain in more detail when we get to the pair later in the video. But yeah, that was my trade for the week. But we should be coming back to some more trades, ladies and gentlemen, coming into next week. So we'll be back from Rwanda back in the UK. So we should be seeing some more activity in the markets. But anyway, we'll start with Euro USD, then we'll work our way through the pair. So Euro USD this week, some upside as expected. The market is still bullish. We're obviously still seeing higher highs and higher lows. However, coming into next week, I do think there's room to the downside. Now, the market structure is still bullish, as we can evidently see, mapping out the higher highs and higher lows. So we have to be careful, but the shorts for this one do look good. The market's had numerous rejections at this level at 1.09253. 1, 2, 3, broke to the upside. This looks to be a bit of a fake out, and now the market is back underneath the level, rejecting it and failing to break above. So I'm expecting to see some retracement for Euro USD. It potentially could be bigger than that. It might open up the door to a potential reversal. If we do break through these lows, then I'll actually start looking for longer term shorts back down to these lows here. But because the structure is still bullish, we're still seeing higher highs and higher lows, I can't predict the future. I can only see, in terms of probability, what's likely to happen, which is potentially a move to the downside. But if we respect support, let me move this back up. If we respect support, there is a good possibility the market could start pushing back to the upside, form another higher low, or retest the prior low and start pushing to the upside again. So shorts do look good for Euro USD, counter trend trading, but it's still high probability trade. Stop loss above the zone here, rejection early on because the market is trading near enough around that level. So early Monday, Tuesday, probably get some trades there if the market's still rejecting that level, that is. And we can start looking to push it down to these lows here, 1.079. I would watch out for this consolidation down the left as well. Potentially price could look to creep in and place another higher low, because we still do have these higher lows, 1, 2. Potentially could see a third one and then pop to the upside, so that could be a nice place to take some partials on the way down. But for Euro USD, looking at some retracement, counter trend move here, back down to these lows at 1.07952. So for Euro USD, as long as we can hold that, if we don't hold this level, we start breaking through, then yeah, a lot more upside. Most likely gonna probably push into the highs here on the left at 1.102. So it's simply break and retest of that if that is the case. So simple, if we break through it, retest, lovely level to buy from into the highs. But if not, if we start rejecting, looking at sell off back down to these lows here. So that would be the plan going to next week for Euro USD. Okay, so now on to USD JPY. So price is actually trading at a very good level of interest for me coming into the week. So the analysis last week, this is kind of what I was looking for push to the downside, start mapping out some lower lows and lower highs, retest some structure, and we can start looking for some sells to the downside. Because on the higher time frames, we've still got this bigger head and shoulder pattern, left head, right shoulder. I'm still looking for push back down into these lows here eventually. So taking that information into the lower time frames, I'm looking for some lower highs to start developing, which we are seeing now, 1, 2, and potentially 3. You can see we are retesting this structure here, which is also looks like a smaller head and shoulder pattern, left head and the right shoulder, and it looks like we're back testing that neckline. So as long as we can hold this, I'm looking for shorts to the downside. Again, targets for the week most likely probably would just be this low here. If I can get 1 to 3, I'll be more than happy to call it a day into 130. We do have the lows down here at 127.5. Feel free to push it down to those lows if you want to. But we've got, what's this? like 200 pips there to the downside for the week. You know, don't really need to push the trade much further than that, unless obviously you're looking for you know, a bit more of a swing or position trade, then obviously manage the trade accordingly. But this is what I'll be looking for USD JPY, retesting some good structure. If you can see some good confirmation, some momentum coming back, maybe London session on Monday, we'll be keen to look for some trades here, stop loss above the zone, maybe take some partials coming back down into these lows here as well. But this will be the end goal for USD JPY. So looking at some more downside, good high time frame confluence. Hopefully you can reject this level here, and then yeah, looking for push into 130 for next week. Okay, so on to USD CAD. So USD CAD, we're looking at some upside this week, which we sort of did see. It's been very, very corrective, but the market has kind of slowly moved higher. I'm not a big fan of that price action. I'll be waiting for it to develop a little bit better, which I'll explain in a second, before I look to jump into some buys. But essentially, the plan is we're looking for that next higher low. We've got a low down here. As long as the market doesn't start breaking through this area, 1.326. I'm still looking for moves to the upside. The targets will be into this area here. You know, this is definitely a very reasonable place to target. You can see was resistance on the left here, strong support. You know, higher time frames are still definitely bullish. So there's still a strong possibility we could be coming back into the highs here on the left. But yeah, this is definitely a place that you want to be at least securing partials, but most likely just call it a day and then get back in if there's another entry to take it to the highs if you start breaking through potentially. So the plan for the week is still that level, which was the same as last week. This was the level I was talking about. If we can hold, buys do look good from here. We did dip below, but it looks like we climbed back above here. So basically, the market is not really showing too much respect to this level. I want to see the market start rejecting this level on a retest of that level. Start giving me some multiple rejections to get back in. Because if not, price could just be looking at impulse, correction, and then another impulse to the downside. And we could push for a deeper retracement. And then I'll just be waiting for some development around these areas. Maybe that support level there to go along. But this level is still a very, very strong level. You can see it held resistance very well. We broke through, retested, and flew to the upside. So that's still my main area of interest. And although market's quite corrective, if we start rejecting and throw some more wicks into it, I'll start to investigate more. And if price action looks good again at that level, I'll start be looking for some entries to take it back to the upside with the same targets back into 1.364, 365, that broken support term resistance. So the plan for USD CAD is still looking for the longs. But I need price action to look a lot better than that. It's very, very corrective. And as I can see, this looks like an impulse correction and probably could expect another impulse back down. So I need to see a lot of rejection around here for me to you know, have that confirmation to actually get into the trade. If I don't see that, I'll leave price alone. But that'll be the trade I'll be looking for next week. It's still very, very bullish on USD CAD. Higher time frames are bullish. 4H is broken through. So if you can start to see some higher lows forming, you know, on that level, we'll be more than happy to buy USD CAD back again and trade it back into the highs. So that will be the plan for the USD CAD going into next week. Okay, so over to Euro Pound. So Euro Pound, we were looking for a push into this support level, which we just missed, as you can see, by a few pips, but practically the market is not perfect. You know, you can see we tested that level. I was looking for a move to the upside first for Euro Pound, back into some areas around here. Had a lovely trend line going through the market. Was looking for another push into the resistance here. Didn't quite see that, unfortunately. This was the only kind of area that interested me for Euro Pound, because the price action is very, very ugly right now. Difficult to find clean trades for Euro Pound. You know, at least if we're up here, we've got a much safer stop loss, and the risk reward looks very, very healthy as well. So with Euro Pound, I'm still looking at price rolling over. I still think there's a high probability we can probably break through the support level and start coming back into consolidation down here. So I'm still looking at some lower highs forming. But for me, this is still my main area of interest. If you're looking to trade Euro Pound a little bit more heavily, then there might be some trades within this area here, this broken support to resistance. You also got the trend line there before these successive low highs, 1, 2, 3, 4. This also could be a nice place to short from. But frankly, for me, I need price to come a lot higher. I'm not willing to short so low down within the consolidation, just because of how price is moving. Wicks galore, wicks everywhere, up, down, very, very corrective price action. I want to see if we can, pump to the upside, maybe trap some buyers on the way going up, see some rejection, much safer stop loss. So this is still where I'm looking to short Euro Pound. Now, will Euro Pound get up there? Probably not. If it does, of course, the market's not predictable. So if it does, I'll be more than happy to start looking for some shorts. Most likely, if you're looking to trade euro pound and you're a bit more aggressive, then yeah, this trade most likely will come to fruition. So you can probably get some shorts around here. But like I said, there's a lot of wicks around here. You know, the chance of getting wicked out is a lot higher down here than up there. So that's the only place I'm looking to short. In terms of bias and direction, I'm looking for more downside for euro pounds for us to start breaking through these lows and eventually come back to that consolidation where we saw all this momentum break to the upside around 0.862. So yeah, euro pound for me, still looking at sales. Area of interest for myself will remain up here at 0.88480. But if you're looking to trade euro pound a bit more aggressively, there's this broken support level, got some good confidence with the trend line as well with those lower highs. So keep an eye on 0.87740 for a pushback down to the lows, and if we're lucky, you might get the breakout to 0.862 as well. So that'll be the plan for next week for euro pound. Okay, so now on to AUD/USD. So for this pair, we had a big push to the upside, big breakout past our highs, which is what I was looking for, but evidently that momentum completely dissipated. The market started correcting, moving back down again, and just kind of continued with no kind of continuation to the upside. So this bigger structure here, starting from these lows, connecting these highs, is like a bigger bear flag correction ascending channel, which normally we expect price to start breaking to the downside. Now on the higher time frames, things still look pretty bearish. You know, we've had this big impulse to the downside. It has had some corrections within it, but it's always been, you know, push, correction, push, correction, push, correction. So we've always been seeing more momentum to the downside than to the upside, and the market's been consistent with those lower lows and lower highs. And this, to me, this looks like a bigger correction of what market's been doing, you know, for the past maybe a couple of months now, since February. So you can see this correction has been happening consistently, and this looks like a bigger correction, probably for even bigger move to the downside. So I'm still looking for a push down to these lows. If I quickly go to the weekly chart, we're still seeing these major lower highs consistently with AUD/USD. If I map out the trend line here, we've got rejection 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all these lower highs, obviously 3 main tests of the trend line. So I'm expecting price to return back down to these lows, potentially further. We've got lows down here, COVID lows, which we could be looking to go and hit maybe as an end goal. But AUD/USD, in terms of the price action and the structure we're seeing, you know, I've got to favor for more downside for this one. So yeah, AUD/USD on the lower time frames, I'm looking for price to break out this channel, which looks like it's started to do. If I whip out the old trend line, you see the market starting to break out. The only reason why I'm not looking to short just yet is because we haven't broken through the support level, which holds a little bit more weight than your trend line. So I want price to break through the support level first. When it does that, I'll be looking for my correction, then the next lower high for the continuation. Targets, you know, we could be looking at these lows down here. There's some lows on the left all the way across here. If we get there we go. So there's some lows here on the left you can start looking to target as well. I'm not sure, we may be trading past that. We can start looking at this broken resistance there, this support level here. So we do have to scan pretty far back to actually get to some sufficient levels. So then we move these out the way because we've already hit them. So these are some levels we can be looking at to target next: 0.65662, 0.65320, then all the way down 0.64. Yeah, pretty much like 64. So the plan for next week for AUD/USD is see if we can get the breakout which we're looking for. You know, evidently if the market was going to go higher, we should have seen an impulse, correction, impulse, but we've just seen an impulse, correction, and now it's starting to take out the lows of the impulse, which is a big red flag for the buyers. So we'll be expecting more downside now for AU. Just need to see the break of the support level, retest, next lower high, and start targeting these lows. I think for the week, I'll probably be either targeting these lows here or 0.65338. I might leave 10% to run to these lows here. But anything around here looks like a good target to aim for. Reasonable, good risk reward as well. So the plan for next week is some shorts. Once we break through this level here, 0.665, and we'll be targeting 0.656 for next week. Okay, so over to NZD CAD. So like I said earlier in the video, still looking at a push back down to these lows here, probably further as well, but for the week, we just keep it to this target here. The main reason why I'm still looking at those shorts is the higher time frames daily is still looking bearish here, rejecting this trend line here, 1, 2, and 3. This big wick here was the news. You know, price wanted to really break out and see some higher highs. We should have broken through this and started seeing some corrections and some continuations to the upside, but all we did was just retest the same area, and we are still printing these major lower highs. which is here on the full H, 1, 2, and I'm looking at the third one after taking out these minor lower highs, grabbing liquidity and looking for us to roll over into those lows. So for me, I'm still looking to basically carry out the same trade I had this week, which is the retest of this support level. As you can see, really nice support, 1, 2, 3. I was shorting from here, which is the resistance, price broke through, but now it's back underneath the same level. So I'm looking for us to hold this level again and move to the downside into these lows here at 0.834. It's sort of like a head and shoulder pattern with the left shoulder being here, the head, which is the big fake out, and now we've got the right shoulder there. So looking at a move back down into the lows here for NZD CAD. So yeah, basically the same trade as last week's, looking for the trade from the same area back down to these lows. Again, a lot of these markets are trading at some good levels right now. So early Monday, we'll see what price is giving us. London session, maybe New York, maybe it can be some nice entries, stop loss above the level 0.845 and targeting those lows down there 0.834. So that will be the plan for next week for NZD CAD. Okay, now on to pound NZD. So pound NZD, we're looking for more upside this week. We had that lovely structure here. It's quite corrective, yes, but the higher highs and higher lows are still very prominent. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, many higher highs being created. So the bullish trend is still alive and kicking. This was the support level we said we're looking to buy from, which we wicked into after the NZD news. So some entries here early in the morning. Maybe on the lower time frames after that wick there, but when I was waking up, price was already trading around here. But as you can see, really nice stab into that level, and since then the market's used that to grab liquidity underneath those lows there, and we started to have a really nice move to the upside. So we're still looking at more upside here. Just recently, as you can see, the market has just pushed through and created some new highs. So again, looking at some retracement, some inability there to go higher. Ooh, missed the spike there, some inability to go higher there. So likely to see some retracement. We've got some nice support around this area here as well. So support, and we've still got that trend line. So I'm still looking for this pattern to continue back to highs here. You know, as long as this structure maintains, I'm always going to be expecting the structure to continue until it breaks or until we get to a significant really significant area where, you know, there's a high probability of reversal. And right now, market's still ripping to the upside. We're still seeing good momentum as well. It's not really corrective. We are still seeing good momentum. This price action, yes, is quite corrective, but that's mainly just retracement. This is just an impulse consolidation, another impulse, so impulse consolidation, impulse. The pattern is still, you know, alive and kicking. So looking for another correction. We've got some good confluence here around 1.97. We can look for some buys there, anticipating another higher low, and again looking for price to return back to the highs, keeping that pattern going into that resistance. So that will be the plan going ahead for pound NZD. Okay, so over to CAD Yen. So CAD Yen, we've had a big push to the upside. The market is now retesting some key support here on the left. As you can see, this was our consolidation where price broke to the downside, had that huge move, and now it's retesting that consolidation as resistance. So broken supports are resistance. So with CAD Yen, I'm still looking at a lot more downside. I've been talking about price potentially coming down into this weekly area. Broken resistance there, haven't got the retest of it, broke for a lot of momentum. Still looking for price to work its way back down to those areas. But first, I'm looking for a major lower high to be forming, you know, in and around these areas, retesting the structure. So I do see some shorts for CAD Yen, but this price action here is not looking very appealing. It's very corrective. So although we might fall over from here, I'm not willing to short anywhere around here. I'm looking for one more test of that same resistance around 99, and then I'm looking for the shorts, and the shorts look pretty tasty in terms of the risk to rewards. You know, you can look to target down to these lows here, but obviously these lows here are very inviting as well. And you can see obviously 1 to 6 there, but we see if the entry could be more or a little bit less. But that's the plan for CAD Yen. Still looking for a major lower high developing around this 99 area, and looking for a push right back down into these lows here for CAD Yen. Again, we probably won't do that within 1 week. If we do, that'll be a very big week. So it might take its time. So of course you can look to aim for these lows here. There's some lows over here, some highs and lows there to aim for as well. So that's up to you. But the plan for CAD Yen is still looking for a major lower high to develop around this 99 area. And then, yeah, looking for some shorts eventually back down to 94,500. And we also got the lows down there at 93 just underneath as well for CAD Yen. But this will be the trade idea I'll be looking to work with going into next week. Okay, so over to pound USD. So the main talk with pound USD has been what price is going to do at this very critical area, very sensitive area. And again, I have not been really willing to trade anywhere around this region here. I'm looking for either a market to break out, start giving me some higher highs and higher lows, and I'll trade that breakout to the upside and another higher low somewhere, or give the fake out and then start pushing to the downside, and I'll look to get involved in the lower highs and trade it, back down to the low. So very, very simple. We've got a ranging market, resistance here at 1.24, support here at 1.185. The market can either do one or two things theoretically: break out or remain in the range and head back down. So in this area here is a lot of indecisive price action. It's going to be faking people up, faking people down. Not sure if it's doing a break and retest or not. So I'm just going to wait for price to do its thing in that area. Then once it starts giving me some more obvious price action to the downside or to the upside, I'll be looking to hop in on some higher lows to go up, or some lower highs to bring it back down. So I'm just going to be waiting to see what happens at this area in terms of the daily candlestick, because it looks like the market is trying to creep back below the level here. The break and retest is not playing out, in smooth fashion. It's still a possibility. The market's still above the level. You could still be seeing this. You can still see a very healthy bullish trend here. Nice impulse. This easily could be the correction for another impulse. If that's the case, I'll probably be looking for the retest of the high here, and that's probably where I'll start mapping out my trades. Because if we have a breakout on the daily, it should go for a few days. So it tells me that the breakout should be quite big. Therefore, I'm not too keen about getting the best entry for this one. If I can get breaking retest of that 1 to 3, I'll be a happy guy after that. So with pound USD, that's the buy setup I'm mainly looking for, unless other structure develops. The main setup I'm looking at. If the market starts breaking down and has the fake out and starts breaking through some lows, most importantly this low here on the left, I'll start looking for some lower highs to take it back down, potentially maybe a head and shoulder pattern, left head, right shoulder, and start shorting around there. Or maybe some lower highs after that. If you start breaking through to the low, let's say, looking for the retest of that, I'll be more than happy to take some shorts to the downside there as well. So I can see a multiple setups for pound USD, both bullish and bearish. It just depends on what the market wants to do. I'm not really here to try and predict the market. I'm just looking for quality trades, and these setups here look high quality. I just need them to set up, but I'm not too bothered which way the market goes. If I had to pick a direction, I probably wouldn't, to be fair. I would say the market's still above it, so I'll probably favor to the upside, but the price action is not too convincing. The breakout is not too, it's not a very, very big breakout, compared to the width of or the height, I should say, of the range. It's a very, very small breakout, so it's not quite convincing, which is another reason why I'm on the fence, just waiting for either one of these situations to play out. So this is what I'll be looking for going to next week for pound USD. Shorts around 1.24 or 1.22 on the retest, or a break and retest of the high there at 1.252. So keep an eye out for those setups next week for pound USD. Okay, so over to pound CAD. So pound CAD, the price action is very, very choppy. I'm not really a big fan of it. It's still trading at that resistance here. I was looking to see if the market can form a lower high and roll over. Potentially might be doing that around here, but I'm not really interested in trading that. We do still have a bullish market alive here, this bullish trend, and the market is still printing higher lows. So I'm trying to see if we can get a break of this structure here, that strong daily resistance, then look for some retracement there to take it back up again. So this at the moment is what is interesting me for pound CAD. I'm not really looking for sells just yet. I need price to start taking out some lows here. Most importantly, this low here. If we can do that, then yeah, I will be looking for the break and retest to take it to the downside, something like this, or a lower high somewhere. So if I'm going to look to short the pair, it probably will be something like this. But at the moment, the buyers are still in control of the market, still seeing higher lows. So if you can get the break of the high of 1.68, 1.685, I'll be more than happy to start looking for some longs to take this back up again. So pound CAD I'm still bullish on. I know it's trading at key resistance. People will be looking to short up around these highs. Not really my type of trade, not what I look for in the market. I'm looking for trending structure, which is why I'm looking for some new lows to be created, lower high than short, or some new highs to be created, higher low than long. So that's what I'll be looking for going forward, but I'm not really interested in selling from the resistance. Again, if it fits your plan, feel free to do so. It's a strong level of resistance. We did see a big move to the downside. So if it fits your plan, go ahead. But this is my analysis going forward into next week. So this is what I'll be looking at, and that'll be the plan. Okay, so over to pound CAD. So pound CAD, the price action is very, very choppy. I'm not really a big fan of it. It's still trading at that resistance here. I was looking to see if the market can form a lower high and roll over. Potentially might be doing that around here. But at the moment, the buyers are still in control of the market, still seeing higher lows. So if I'm going to look to short the pair, it probably will be something like this. And if I'm going to look to take this back up again, so this is what I'll be looking at, and that'll be the plan. Okay, so over to pound yen. So pound yen ourselves looking at buys for this one after a really nice move to the upside. However, we've seen some really big rejection coming into resistance here, specifically on the 4H and the daily. As you can see, we've had a big wick there in the past, and the market's left another big wick. So I'm no longer willing to buy so high up for pound yen. I'm looking for price to retrace a little bit deeper. Last week, I gave out 2 areas of interest, which is this support level, which the market's had a slight move to the upside from, and this level here was the second level. So this is the area I'll be focusing on for pound yen after that hefty rejection. I want price to come a lot deeper, closer to the buyers, and then I'll be looking for a move to the upside, back into resistance. You can see the market still slowly placing in these higher lows here, 1, 2, 3. You can see this is where all the buyers are sitting for all these daily wicks. So I want to be buying as close to this area as possible. Even if you do get pushed down here, the buys will look good here as well. But from the 4H time frame, we had this lovely impulse. If I whip out the old Fibonacci from the low to the high, you can see we've got the 50, 0.618 around this area here as well. So this is where I'll be looking for buys. This is a little bit too high up for me. It probably lines up maybe the 0.382, which is not a fib that I look to use. So you can see 0.382. So it's a nice bounce on that area. But I look to trade from the 50 and below. That's normally where I get most of my success from. So yeah, pound yen, the buys are still looking good. We had this lovely impulse, but obviously breaking through all of these lower highs. 1, 2, 3, didn't really break through that one, but we've broken through some important lower highs with a strong impulse. So I am looking for impulse correction that. But this is definitely a level not to really mess around with, because evidently on the daily time frame, we're having such a hard time trying to break through. So pound yen going ahead, I'm still looking at that next high low forming around the 162 area. So this is where I'll start looking for some entries. Let me get rid of the fib, it's there. I'll probably be looking for a push either to around 164, 500, 164, maybe 165 into that resistance there, which is where we start getting that 4H rejection from. So that'll be the plan for next week for pound yen. Not really interested in this level anymore, so I'll delete that. This is my level of interest. There could be some sales to start off the week from this area here. We might be looking to roll over. Not really what I'm looking for. Possibly a bit of a head and shoulder here, left head and possibly right shoulder there, so that could be an idea. But like I said, I'm focused on the longs here, trying to trade the impulse correction impulse back into that resistance. So looking for buys next week down around the 161, 900, 162 area, back into 165 next week. Okay, gold's still bullish, still looking for gold to maintain that bullish momentum to the upside. We've been looking for a breach into 2K this week. We got that and more. Now we're looking for price to go and take out the all-time highs, which is around 2076, 2077, around that area there. Where is it? There you are. So around this area here, 2075, 2076, this is where we're looking for price to eventually come into. You can still see on the higher time frames, if I go back to daily quickly, really nice bullish trend here. Lower time frames got a bullish trend, so we're looking at bullish structure from the higher time frames all the way down to the lower time frames. So gold right now is in synchronicity, and we're all looking for just good areas of confluence, good areas in the market we can look for some long opportunities and take it back up again. Right now it looks like the market's coming back into 2K, which is a nice area to look for. And we've also got this level here at 1980 as well, which looks like a really good level. Broken resistance, broke to the outside, good momentum. Again, haven't retested. This is the first time we're retesting 2K, and if you come a little bit further, it'll be the first time we're retesting 180. So for gold, all I'm literally looking for is the next high low. Looking for either a simple retest of 2K, we start flying again, or we come a little bit deeper, test 1980, sorry, not 180, 1980 along with the trend line as well, which has got a bit more confluence. And I do prefer this area slightly better. Obviously it's further down, and we've got some fib confluence there as well. So 1980 would be a really nice place for us to look to go long from. But gold's quite bullish right now. We might just see a quick retest of 2K and then see a push to the upside. So looking for confirmations within this area here. Keep an eye out for gold, because this one is quite bullish, and it could start flying at any moment again, maybe some news or just randomly. So keep an eye out for gold. 2000, 2K is what I'm looking for. Targets for the week, you can look to trade it back to the highs if you're a bit more of a day trader or intra-week. If you're looking for a bit more of a swing, then obviously you've got the all-time highs there. Maybe you want to trail your stops. That'll be up to you. But for me, if I get into any trades, if it's from here, I'll probably aim for 220, 30, and I'll probably leave a small amount to run to the all-time highs, because there is a high chance of us seeing at least a push into that area, but most likely seeing some new highs as well. So if I do get into any gold longs, I'll most likely take most of my profit around this high here at 2030. and leave a bit to trickle to see if we can get to those highs. But in terms of bias and direction, we are looking for buys, so keep an eye at 2K and 1980 for some longs for next week for gold. Okay, so Bitcoin is still doing nothing. It's struggling at resistance, but also at support as well. It's basically consolidating. So again, Bitcoin in this area, I'm not really interested in. FX, crypto, indices, anything that's consolidating like this, I'm not really looking to try and second guess the market. On the higher time frames, the analysis from past 2 weeks still stands really. Still looking to see what we can do at this 30K mark, 31K mark. Really nice, strong level of support. You know, if you can come into this level, show some rejection, I do think we got some room to the downside. And likewise, if we come back and retest this resistance down here, which hasn't been retested on the breakout, I do think there could be some nice longs there, catch the next higher low for a push back into that 31K mark. So Bitcoin for me, there's nothing really much to do in there unless you're looking to trade the range. If I go to the full H time frame, yeah, I'm not really seeing much here. It's just not really worthwhile. Maybe price is slowly falling some higher lows to start breaking higher, but I wouldn't really look to trade that myself. 25K looks a great place to look to go long. Obviously looking there for some entries. Maybe in the full H time frame, probably wouldn't go lower than that. For entries, the risk will still be, you know, very, very good. And same thing around 31K, looking for some sells around here, looking for a push straight back down to that level. So Bitcoin, the way I see it right now, is consolidating between a really nice level of resistance and a life level of support, just in the middle there. So we need price either to pop higher, test that resistance, or pop lower and test the support. And there we've got much more of an edge looking to buy and sell the market. So plan for Bitcoin is still looking for a push to 30K. If we do head down first, then you can look to buy it back up again. If you do push into 30K, around 31K, then we start looking for some sells to take Bitcoin back down, but I'm not looking to do anything in that area. So we'll keep an eye on those levels for Bitcoin going into next week. And last but not least, we've got our final pair, our bonus pair, Aodu JPY for this week. So for this one, I'm looking at shorts. I'm looking for a push back down to where we came from into these lows. If we zoom out, look at the higher time frame structure, specifically the daily chart, you can see we've been on a nice, comfortable bearish trend since this high was created in September last year. So you can see the market's been creating these lower lows and lower highs, and all we're looking for is another lower high for a push back down to these lows. We could see some new lows. There's some levels around here the market could be going to test in the future, but of course this analysis is just for next week, so we'll just be focusing on that prior low around 86. So we've got some good confluence here. There's a lovely rejection on that trend line here. I was looking for price originally to come a little bit higher and test this support level here. It just about missed it and then rolled over to the downside, but it does look good for some re-entries on the retest of this level here. Sort of like a head and shoulder pattern here, left, heads, and then we've got the right shoulder there. Market stumped through the neckline. Similar setup to USD JPY. If you haven't seen that, you know, scroll back earlier in the video, but USD JPY has got similar price action. I'm looking for the retest of that structure, that support and resistance, the neckline, and looking for continuations to the downside. So analysis is pretty simple. We've got really good confluence on this one. Higher time frames taking it to the lower time frames as well. Full H has developed quite nicely. We're still seeing some good momentum to the downside as well. Really nice impulse, correction, impulse as well. Market is a little bit choppy right now, showing consolidation. So hopefully we can get a pop to the upside, retest that level there, maybe take out some weaker highs underneath that level, retest that area. That's what we look for, the entries and the rejection. And yeah, subsequently looking for push back down to the prior lows. Obviously there's some support there if you want to target, it's up to you. But for me, I probably will be looking for push down to 86,500 into these lows here. So Aodu JPY shorts look really, really good for next week. Will be on the watch list. So yeah, guys, we have come up to the end of the video. Thank you so much for sticking to the end if you're at the end. If you want to see a particular bonus pair for next week, leave down in the comments. If you have been enjoying the content as well, let me know in the comments as well. If you did enjoy it though, please leave a like, subscribe if you haven't done already. It really does help out the channel, and make sure you do hit the bell as well so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for tuning in for another weekly analysis. Hope you've enjoyed it. Have a great weekend, and I'll catch you all next week.